welcome to VIP Boxing's Bell to Bell podcast, episode 46. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify on the way to work, thank you very much. And if you can leave a review, great. I'm Steve Lillis, and as usual, I don't know if it's your top left, it looks on my top left anyway, it's John Evans, great friend of mine and my co-host and a good all-round man. Special guest this week, a boxer I'll always back, not just because he's a real talent, but he's also from Battersea, my neck of the woods when I lived in London and was born, bred, everything there. Former British middleweight champion, Denzel Bentley. Denzel, thanks for joining us today in Battersea. It's very kind of you.
Thanks for having me on, man.
It's good. But yeah, I've got to say, you're from the posher part of Battersea than me. You're right opposite that power station, mate, when that new tube link is and all them £10 million flats are going, all the Russians are buying. You live across the road from there. There's a little pub opposite the dog zone. You're right behind there and you overlook the power station. I was brought up on Falcon Road, mate. What's the Wild West in comparison?
Yeah, Falcon Road. Yeah, I know that area. I went to school near there, Silesian, down Surrey Lane.
Yeah, I went to the primary school there, Sacred Art.
Sacred Art, yeah.
I wasn't clever enough to get the Silesians, mate. I got sent to St. Gerard's. All the brainy kids went to the Silesians. Anyway, Denzel, I know you're going to talk about Felix Cash fight as one of your topics later, but is there any news on when you're boxing again?
No news yet. Hopefully find out something tomorrow or within the week. I think Martin's got a meeting with Frank tomorrow, so we'll see what's going on.
Right, so you're just ticking over at the moment in the gym?
Yeah, I'm in the gym, still training. We'll find out this week what we're doing, whether we need to, take it back a little bit or just step on the gas a bit. So, yeah. Just
before we start, how do you make that journey every day now? Because it was bad enough before, or hard enough before, getting to Canning Town. So how do you get there from, I know we were joking about Battersea. I don't know what side of that estate you're on, whether you're on the Battersea side or the Vauxhall side. How do you get to the gym there?
Yeah, luckily I'm driving, so I just drive straight there.
I'm driving now.
The Vauxhall side, so yeah, just go through Vauxhall, through East London, and then towards the M11, and I'm there. But it is a long journey. But where I do it every day, it doesn't feel that long anymore. But it is a long journey.
Hey Denzel, just before we start, we were talking not long ago, and you were telling us you were that desperate to get out after the Cash fight. You were willing to go over to Russia on one of these shows they were putting on, where we were sending Brits over to get beat. But you were keen to go over and do that, weren't you?
No, I'd have been boxing today. I wish I stayed on that card, man. I wish I did. I'd have been boxing today.
Well, we'll start on, for people who haven't listened to this podcast before, we might get a few new listeners, given them boxing's really topical this weekend. We speak for 3 minutes on each topic, and at the end of 3 minutes, what happens, John Evans?
The bell comes in, Denzel.
Denzel, no. Right, so what we're going to do, are you ready with your clock there, John? We'll start with round one.
When you are.
And I think Denzel, we're going to start with Denzel this week to start in the first topic. And he wants to talk about AJ versus Usyk at the weekend. Over to you, Denzel.
Yeah, AJ versus Usyk. I think AJ fought the wrong fight. Usyk done well. Usyk done what he needed to do. Usyk, he's done exceptionally well. I think AJ just fought the wrong fight. I think him losing weight didn't help. I think him losing weight gave the Usyk camp confidence to, actually feel like, oh, yes, we could do this. It gave them more confidence. I think his interviews and all these press conferences and everything he was saying was giving Usyk confidence as well, because he didn't sound like someone that was coming to terrorize Usyk or destroy Usyk. He just sounded like someone that was coming to try his best. So there was lack of confidence in all of his comments, his statements, whatever it was. And I think that just gave Usyk confidence. So when Usyk went out there, in his mind, he's thinking, I'm 100% winning this. So, I think Usyk messed up. Usyk done well and AJ messed up.
Yeah. I tell you what, watching it, those last 4 rounds, I just thought Usyk was unbelievable. Because after 8 rounds, he was tired, wasn't he? It looked like Joshua he had a good 7th, I think it was. I can't remember. Yeah. And then he looked like he was just tiring a bit, hitting a wall. And for him to turn it around in such a big fight against a fighter like Joshua, 9, 10, 11, 12, I just thought that was unbelievable. That's one of the best finishes to a fight I've ever seen. And yeah, it looked like he was going to get him out. I don't think we can say enough about Usyk. I know we'll talk about Joshua in a little bit, But you've got to give Usyk all the credit in the world there. That was
100%.
unbelievable.
You know what? I thought Usyk was superb throughout. There was that round 8 where, you know what? I gave Joshua rounds. I think I had it 8-4. But in that whole fight, there was only one round I gave to Joshua clearly, and that was round 8 when he started letting his hands go a little bit more. And then you thought, hold on, he can come from behind and snatch this now, which I expected him to rally and win late. That's what I was expecting. But Usyk was just superb throughout. It's almost as if he read everything that Anthony was going to do. And touching on the press conference, I don't think you should be at press conference. You know what Denzel was talking about. I don't think you should be at press conferences talking decapitations and, you know, nasty stuff. But I didn't like all the handshakes from AJ, having selfies with him afterwards at the press conference. That isn't for me. You can do all that in the dressing room afterwards. Have respect, but you're going to fight a man. You know, you don't go and have selfies with him backstage that he was taking. And that was part of Usyk getting to him, I think. It was Usyk taking the selfies. That was part of Usyk getting him, dressing like the Joker, thinking you're just fighting some mad cruiserweight who's jumped up a weight. And I think that might have spooked him a bit as well.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it was the same. It's the same really as the Ruiz fight, being too friendly, trying to act like, yeah, we're cool. And it's like, no, like you said, you need to have a little bit of animosity towards your opponent. You have to want to hurt them. Like, you can't be friends and all friendly and, hey, it's only a fight. No, like this.
Round 2, John, has Joshua lost his identity?
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying Joshua changed when Vladimir Klitschko put him over with that right hand. When he beat him for the title, and he's never quite been as aggressive or willing to take risks since then. I don't know about that. I think probably if you get to the Denzel, no, if you get to the end of your career and you're the same fighter you were when you turned pro, that's probably not a good thing, is it? You know, you need to grow and change. But it just looks to me like Joshua's caught between being what he wants to be and what he actually is. And Joshua, I think the best Joshua we've seen was maybe the Dillian White was the best example of Joshua. You know, he was nasty, wasn't he? He was horrible. He was a killer that night, and he took Dillian out. He had that edge that we're talking about he was missing against Ruiz and missing against Usyk. And I just wonder if all these different voices he's got in his corner now, they're all trying to put their little imprint on him, aren't they? They'll all want to be going home to their mates and their people saying, yeah, I'm training Joshua. I want him to fight like this. Rob's old-fashioned, you know, he needs to do this. And I just think Joshua needs to take himself away from all that, realise what got him to where he is, and realise what he actually is, and try and get it back.
There was one voice in the corner, John, against Dillian White, Robert McCracken's. Now, the other night, obviously, I'll be very brief. Must hear from Denzel on this. But too many voices, and some of the guys in them, I mean, I have no idea who they are. There was the guy, Joby Clayton, shouting his brilliant, AJ. Now, there should be one voice in the corner. If I was carrying the water for Denzel Bentley in his next fight, whether that's a 6-rounder or a championship fight, and I was holding the bottle, Martin let me hold the bottle, and I started shouting, brilliant. I wouldn't even be in that corner for the next round. I'll be spinning down the road with a right hand. I mean, you just don't do it. And I was listening to an interview with a guy, Joby Clayton, today, who's in the corner, and I was quite taken aback. There's an interview on YouTube where he talks about his jobs to make Anthony Joshua an all-time great. I don't even know where the guy's come from. Obviously, he learned to train, learn your dues, and gradually make your way there. Don't just go straight in his corner and start saying, my job's to make you an all-time great. David Beckham didn't go straight in the Man United team when he was a brilliant youngster. He was at fucking Preston North End learning his trade. There's my rant. Over to you, Denzel.
No, I think you're right. I think having that much people in the corner isn't a problem if they're all on the same page. When they're all trying to implement different things, that's when the problem occurs. Like, I think John was saying earlier, one person saying brilliant, and it's like he's getting hit with shots. It's like you're not on the same page. And I think it was you, Steve, that just said, one guy said his job is to make AJ world champion. But no, it's a team thing. If everyone's got their own individual goals, it's not going to work. So they all need to put their heads together and be on the same page and say, what style are we going for? What are we showing him? And this is what he needs to work on. When he's with you, make sure he's working this. When he's with you, make sure he's working with this. But when there's two different...
Put you off and stop you again, Denzel.
I think you... Round 3, what now, AJ? It's where do you guys think he goes now? I mean, obviously, I think the rematch is there, but I don't see. I thought he was beaten so comprehensively. I don't see how he ever beats Alexander Usyk. Maybe 19 times out of 20, I think Usyk beats him, unless he just goes out there from the word go, gets on the front foot and lets the right hand go and obviously risks getting knocked out himself. I really don't. I don't like the idea of the rematch clause being put in place straight away. I'd like to see him have a win and come back and get some confidence back, because that wasn't like the Ruiz loss the other night, where one shot did him and we all fancied him for the rematch. There's nothing I saw the other night that would give me where I can see an inkling that he wins the rematch. I mean, I'd rather him have a couple, a 10-rounder against a good fighter and go into the Fury fight. The Fury fight's still there. It's not worth what it was, obviously, to him, but it's still there.
Yeah, if he loses to Usyk again, it's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the last. The next loss is the last.
The other thing as well, Usyk's not going to turn up a fat bastard like Ruiz did. Usyk's not going to eat a load of Ukrainian dumplings, is he? And turn up 80
this isn't getting to him. Yeah, that's true.
Usyk's coming in better next time.
But I just think AJ didn't throw enough combination punches like he used to. Like he was too comfortable in that fight. He didn't switch the pace at any time. He didn't put Usyk on the back foot like he should have. He didn't try to set him and trap him in the corners. He didn't try to set anything up. He was touching him and not shooting the backhand. He wasn't throwing many stiff jabs. You catch him with one shot and step back. It was just too complacent to me. He was just too comfortable. It was like he needed to switch the gears a little bit. But listen, in the rematch, like you said, Steve, I think he needs to be on him from the word go, similar to like what Chisora done, but not gas out, because he is a better fighter than Chisora, and he can probably catch him early if he does that.
As a boxer, Denzel, can you understand why he said, I want that rematch straight away? Although he's 100%. Been comprehensively... I mean, I've never boxed. I'm on the outside looking in. I have my opinion. But you've boxed. Can you understand why he wants that rematch straight 100%. Away, even though he was comprehensively beaten?
100%. It's after the Cash fight, I wanted to restart the whole day and fight again. Do you know what I mean? So I know exactly what he's feeling. That it's just a pride thing. You just lost. You're thinking, no, I can't go out like that. And you just want to just get back in there and make it right straight away. So I can understand that.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you. I'll ask you about it at the end, actually, Denzel. The time's just running out. There's no point in talking about something else. I was going to ask you about you preparing for rematches, because you had one last year. But that's the end of the round.
We'll get that in right at the end before we go off, John. Yeah. We'll ask Denzel about that, because he had a big rematch and was superb in that. But round 4, it's over to you, Denzel. The topic is my fight with Cash.
Yeah, to be honest, I picked this topic because I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. So I'll let you guys go first.
You know what? I knew Cash was good. I was surprised how good he was on the night. I thought he was superb. And he just went up 20-fold in my estimation, Denzel. I thought he was absolutely... He surprised... I knew he was good because he had the amateur pedigree. I had it as a 50-50 fight, and you can look at stuff I might have written. I think I knew it was a hard fight. I never had you as nailed on, but I'm pretty sure I did tip you to win a hard fight. I never, ever saw the outcome. I thought he was superb that night, and I think he's a world-class middleweight. I'm not just saying that because he beat you, just someone I know well. I thought he was superb that night, and I think right now, domestic level, I think he's going to go past it so soon. Before possibly you get that rematch, that chance to put it right. That's just my opinion. I hope you don't mind what I said. I think
no, that's fine. No, that's cool.
Yeah, we spoke, right, Denzel, haven't we? And I thought everything happened really quick. You were fighting Mick all summer, and you were fighting Felix.
Said this.
A massive fight, coming towards the end of the year. Felix was great on the night. I thought he looked massive in the ring. I thought he refueled. Should we say refueled?
Yeah, we'll say that.
He came in a tank. And I never thought you got into your rhythm. I thought you were on the back foot pretty early. I don't know if you felt something in the first round and it unsettled you and you could never quite get your feet underneath you. But yeah, I just thought Felix put in the performance of his career, and Felix probably knew he had to do that to get the better of you that night.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think he was very good in the night. Like you said, I didn't really get going. I was hoping, middle to the late rounds is when I'll start getting going, but that was too late. He started really fast, and it kind of threw me off. I knew he started fast, but he started really fast. He caught me with that left hook in the first round, and I thought, all right, get yourself together. But it was too late by then. But like I said, he's a good fighter. I picked up things from that, like I've said, outside the ring, because I feel like I know how to fight. Not like I can't learn new things every day, but I picked up on things outside the ring that I feel like will help me going forward, which is another reason why I was eager to get in the ring, eager to get in back out, the other week, just to try and show and prove, okay, is this stuff working? But like you said, Steve, down the line, I do want that rematch.
Oh, of course, you're a fighter, yeah.
Middleweight, he's going to go forward and do his thing. I just got to keep doing my thing, get to that level and be in position to be able to call for that. And hopefully it'll be exciting, but we've got to get there first, innit?
How much did that hurt? Because you say that fight was 50-50. Some people fancied you, some people fancied Felix. There wasn't...
After Steve.
All right, John, inactivity with boxers.
Yeah, Denzel coming on this one as well, because I know he's kicking his heels at the minute. But we've spoken about these lightweights on the world scene who are just letting their careers peter away. We've got potential superstars and we're just not fighting. But it's more about guys at British level. Nathan Heaney's had another fight announced. He's probably the busiest fighter in Britain at the moment. It just seems when you get to a level, though, like Denzel is, it grinds to a halt. And it must be difficult. We might be seeing fighters primes eroding here, going in the gym every day when you've not got a target to aim for. It's just a grind, isn't it, Denzel? You need that spark to be working towards, something to keep you motivated and keep you going. I just wonder if there's a potential opening for maybe untelevised fights on a Wednesday night at York Hall, where you can get in against a Bulgarian for 8 rounds, just to keep you ticking over. I know the wages are below, but I'm sure a lot of you guys would rather fight for a few quid and just keep busy rather than just going through training, endlessly grinding away. A little 8-rounder above weight. Julio Cesar Chavez used to fight anybody, didn't he? He used to fight off TV shows all the time. I just wonder if there's a possible opening for these shows, just to keep you guys busy, to keep careers moving and to keep fighters improving, rather than just appearing once every 6 months when the pressure is massive because you've not fought. You've got to win. It's a big fight. I just think fighters would improve if there was a possibility to just keep ticking over all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I think so as well. Like, for example, listen, if you told me there was a show next weekend, I'd be on there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just one of those things. I guess with like, certain fighters, they're used to a certain pay grade. So when they're getting out there, they want this much money or they want that. You know what I'm saying? But the ones that really just want to be out and fight, that are inactive, would do it because I feel like, you get comfortable fighting under the bright lights, you get comfortable fighting in front of a crowd or wherever it is, and just being out on shows rather than, like you said, every 6 months there's a big fight and now you got to kind of soak up the moment, concentrate, go through camp, and it's like, it takes a toll on you. Like it can do anyway. Some fighters are really professional. They stay in the gym all year round and they're close to weight. So, it's not that much of a problem. But the other guys that are just, if they ain't got a date, they're not fighting. If they did fight regularly, maybe they stay in the gym, and then that could, help improve them and stuff like that. So I think it's a good point. I think inactivity can affect fighters, but I don't think it does as much, because the ones that are dedicated to their craft are in the gym all year round anyway, and they're doing their thing.
I've always said that the great and the good and the ones that look after themselves aren't affected by ring rust. You never saw one Manuel Marquez, when he had gaps in his career, suffer from ring rust. And what I will say, you talk about when you would fight next Saturday, Denzel, I know you would, because the first time I ever covered one of your fights was your 6th or 7th fight at the Hilton Hotel in London, when you against Serge, I can't think of the guy's surname, the Cameroon guy who lives in Sheffield, and you stepped in at 6 hours notice because the fight was off the day before, then on again.
Yeah.
Final topic for the night. Sky TV are gamble. They're back with new promoters on Saturday. Chris Eubanks fighting a late substitute, Anatoly Muratov, because the guy Elbeer failed a COVID test. There's a decent welterweight title between David Avanesian and Liam Taylor. A very good fight, but a real uphill fight for Liam, I think. I'd like to be wrong, see, from one of the local gyms around here. I just wondered how you think that the new promoters are going to go with Sky, because Eddie Hearn might be Marmite to a lot of fans and all that, but you can't deny what he's done as a promoter. And we know Sky giving him the budget and what he's done with that budget. I just think anything these people do, it's going to be compared with what Eddie has done. And I think it's going to be really, really hard for him to follow that. And I'm doubting whether they can, to be honest with you, to follow what he's delivered the last few years. I just wonder what you guys thought. I don't know if you're a big TV watcher of boxing, Denzel.
Yeah, I love watching boxing on telly. Sometimes, depending on the show, I prefer to watch it on telly than actually be in it. But I think Sky have the platform to, you know, make it big still. I think Eddie, they helped each other. Matchroom and Sky helped each other.
Yeah.
Sky had the exposure. I think Sky is probably one of the biggest platforms of boxing because of Sky Sports News. Do you know what I mean? Like, they got that Sky Sports, everyone's on Sky Sports News. So when you're bringing up fighters on Sky Sports News, people see these things. Other channels don't have that luxury. Do you know what I mean? The Zone is subscription based now. So if you're not subscribed, you don't see anything unless you're watching it on YouTube or something, watching something on you and it pops up as an advert. But Sky, people are on Sky Sports News all day because of football, want to see the updates, and boxing slips in. Oh, look, I saw this last time. I might tune in. Do you know what I mean? So I think they can still do well and they can still push it. It just depends on the promoters and the quality of fights they put on. That's going to help push them on.
They've got to hit the ground running, haven't they? You know, because they're going to have the audience. They're going to have the people who always watch boxing on Sky. They're going to tune in. But they've been used to seeing household names, haven't they? If suddenly the new promoters, after this weekend, if the new promoters are putting on good fighters like Brad Ray and Richard Riakporhe, but they're not household names yet, are they? And if they see the standard drops, say the opponents aren't any good, they could quite easily lose a lot of momentum. I think they've got to hit the ground running.
That's true, but then they've got guys like Chris Eubank and Josh Taylor, which are pretty much, Josh Taylor's a undisputed world champion, and Chris Eubank's pretty much a household name. So I guess they can do it with them too. They can make it work, but it just depends how regular they get out. So yeah.
Yeah, I think them two are both going to be out in December as well. I'm guessing on separate shows. There's talk of Eubank in a big fight, and of course Jack Catterall challenging Liam Taylor. But I think what you said, Denzel, about Sky Sports News, you can never ever underestimate the power of that tool. And it's amazing you mentioned, I can't think who it was. I was talking with somebody today about Sky Sports News and the job they do. And there's a prize fighter on, or I called it boxes, but it's a prize fighter they're having in Liverpool. I think it's November the 6th, or it's early November. And the guys, most people will never have heard of these guys. They're not the greatest, a lot of them, but they're very competitive. But during that week, because no one's heard of them, that Sky Sports News will be at them gyms making characters of those guys. They'll find a news story about those guys. You know, almost like, you know, before your fight with Felix, where BT went to your estate and made that really nice film. They will make that, and that will be played on Sky Sports News every day. They'll have features on two of those guys, and they'll make them pop. They'll make them names before boxing knows them.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. But them shows are exciting though, because they're just so quick and short. I like the boxer shows. The what's it called?
I called it Prize Fighter. They're calling it Ultimate Boxer or something. We know it as Prize Fighter.
Yeah, the Prize Fighter. Yeah, I like the Prize Fighter kind of concept.
When you was early in your career, Denzel, you know, when you was 2, 3, 4 and 0, were you ever approached for one of those?
I was, you know, just before I signed with Frank though, so we never took it. But I was the one that Derek Kusazi won, obviously the middleweight one, yeah.
Really?
Sean Phillips went in it instead. Yeah, Sean Phillips, my gym mate, went in it instead.
Yeah.
Would you like to have gone in? Well, you would have been made for that, rangy.
Yeah, I said put me in, and then they were like, "Nah, listen, we just got this deal with Frank. We don't need it." Like, okay, cool, fair enough. I'm all right. But if I didn't have that, put me in. I'd have been in there straight away. But Sean got the opportunity, and I think he shined. I think he done really well. He had a great fight with Grant Dennis. Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, he was that kind of put him on the map a little bit. So it was good.
But the other thing with it is with the new promoters, they got Wasserman and Ben Shalom's boys, you know, and look, when I say I don't think they can match Eddie, it's not a knock at them. I just think they've got such a hard act to follow. What'll be interesting is how tickets sell for their shows as well. Because Eddie has got that social media. He suddenly put, I mean, for years, Liverpool boxing struggled to sell. Eddie Earn put Fowler was fighting Smith, great Liverpool derby, we know that. It was sold out within an hour. The clout he has through social media saying, I've got a great show here. People just go and buy tickets.
I think they buy tickets to see him. Yeah. he does a good job, I'm not going to lie.
Just going back, we've gone over there. We always go over on the last Denzel, but just going back to the rematches. When you fought Heffron, you came in a rematch with a different style, didn't you? You know, like we're saying, Joshua is going to have to change a lot. between the first fight with Heffron and the second, you went from a boxer to being more aggressive, didn't you? How did you go about changing in the build up to that?
I felt like I knew him. I felt like changing your style mid-fight is pretty hard because you're already in the rhythm and it is hard. But the plan was, to be honest, if I'm being honest with you, the first fight, after I beat Mick Hall, I got back in the gym and I knew I was fighting Mark, but it wasn't confirmed yet. It got confirmed for about 3 to 2.5 weeks notice. And I was like, okay, cool, we've already been in the gym. Like, my weight is good, let's do it. Done it now. But in my mind, it was like, okay, let's see what he's got here. Let's see what he's got. Then obviously, I'm boxing, trying to figure him out. And then now all of a sudden you're stuck in that rhythm. He's coming forward, I'm going backwards. I need to make him miss, make him pay, come back and stuff. And that was the rhythm of the fight. In the second fight, I felt like I knew him. And I felt like he felt he knew me. He felt like he just felt like, I'm just going to go on the back foot. I'm a runner. I can't punch. I cause him no threats, basically. And I knew he couldn't change his style. And because he feels like I'm going to just keep going backwards and keep trying to make him miss, he's going to keep coming forward. So I thought, okay, I can't do that because he's got a game plan for that. So I need to switch what I'm doing, get out of my comfort zone and try and push him back. So that's what we worked on all camp, and we had long to do it. So we had, obviously, from September to November, we had a good 6 to 8 weeks to do it. And we just worked on that, coming forward, sparring heavier boys, holding my ground against them, even if they were catching me as I was trying to block the shots and move, just stay there no matter what. And that's what we worked on that fight. And that's why it came off so well on the night.
Yeah. Quite did as well, didn't it?
Yeah. Came off well.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the sound of former British. I sound old.
No, you're not old. You're still young. You know what?
Back,
as I said to you, I think you lost to a really, really good fighter on the night.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, you obviously, you'd have the rematch. You'll be full of confidence. That's the sort of personality you are. But, it was his night and that was it. But you know what?
Yeah.
You say former mates, you sound old, mate. Well, he's still young. He's mid-20s. You're not a baby, but you're at a stage where a lot of fighters haven't even peaked.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
But you're a fighter. It's not. You're a fighting person. You got that in you. That I'm guessing it hurts when people talk about Cash. You ask an opinion, but does it hurt you when people talk about that fight to you?
Yeah, it gets me. It gets my nerves. It gets me kind of like I feel the type of way. But it is what it is. I know that's the last thing I've done, and that's another reason why I want to get out so bad, because that's no longer the last thing I've done. If I don't box for the rest of the year, people are going to keep asking me about that for the rest of the year. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I want to get out, put a statement, and now we have something else to talk about. Oh yeah, you came back really good, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, cool. No one talks about Heffron no more because that was like 2 fights ago.
Of course, that's a really good point. That, and people forget, as you say, when they went into the Cash fight, one reason a lot of people had you down to win was the job you did on Mark the second time. Yeah. The improvement, not improvement, but the improvement, the change from that first fight. And as you said, nobody talks about it now, do they? It's like once AJ got Ruiz out the way, the first result counted for nothing, did it?
Nothing, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's true. Like when I boxed Heffron, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's coming on." When I lost the Cash, I had people in my comments telling me to go back to the amateurs. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just mad. It's just madness. So I just wanted to come back. So like, that's done, and I can build towards, carrying on with my career and being where I want to be, which is a world champion, like I've always said, and hopefully getting that rematch with Cash one day. But the main thing is just getting on my career. I don't want to hear about the last fight no more, but I know I'm going to, so it's like whatever.
Well, if you keep winning, sorry, John.
You have to steel yourself, Denzel. Before your fight got canned last month, wasn't it? Do you have to, when you're thinking, all right, it's fight week next week, the interviews are going to start, we're all going to ask me about Cash. Is that going through your mind? What's
so mad? I wasn't even thinking about it. I felt like attention went on me for my last fight, really.
Yeah.
I felt like it was all about Sonny Edwards and his world title, so I wasn't really expecting. It got to the Wednesday of the fight.
Yeah, there was a lot
cancelled on the Wednesday of the fight, and I hadn't had much interviews asking about Cash, but they were coming in for a media day on the Wednesday when we found out that the show was cancelled, but they continued the media day because the night before was still on. And then that's when I was asked about Cash and coming back and stuff. But before that, up until then, I wasn't really being asked about him, and I was just in my zone, really. But if it came, I would have answered it. But I was just in the zone. I just wanted to fight. I was ready.
You just need to rehearse the same lines so you can just spit them out without even thinking about it.
Yeah, I just say it's what it is. I say, listen, it is what it is. It's a good fighter. Getting into it and explaining it just gets long. You do it once, you do it twice, and it's like, nah.
I don't know how you do it.
Well, the key to you getting that rematch, that is to keep winning, and you'll deserve that rematch, and you'll get it if you keep winning. If if you win another 4-3, I don't know, just plucking a number out, I guess here, 3-4 more fights, you'll be closing in on a rematch again. Yeah, no, definitely, and that's where I want to be. Of course, apart from my actual goals in the sport, which is, like I keep saying, being a world champion, that's another one now. I need to get that back. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got my number. I can't have that. So, yeah. And you got a fight in Ghana as well. I know you want to fight there, don't you? And that's the long-term goal. That's closer to, the end of my career. Oh, that's at the end. You're going back to Ghana, yeah? Yeah. A little homecoming. You know what? You're a real charming fella, and you've been a brilliant guest, Denzel, and thanks, John, for suggesting we got you on. He said to me you would do a great turn, and you've been superb. Thanks, appreciate that. Thanks, John. Thanks, Steve. Thanks a lot, fellas, and thanks everyone who's listening, and I hope you enjoyed this week. Cheers, fellas, and I'll speak to everyone soon. Thanks, Denzel. Take care.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.